Welcome to the Legal Smith Unleashed. I am attorney Kurt Smith. I'm here today with paralegal Kason Dow.
That about catches out. Say paralegal. I'm kind of legal adjacent.
Paralegal, yeah. He's here to handle my special legal needs. And we are here discussing all things legal. My office is Smith Legal Group. We handle a lot of different kinds of law, but mostly family law here in Las Vegas. We've been here in town for about 18 years and handling all kinds of law, mostly family law like divorce, child custody, guardianship, termination of parental rights, which is my favorite, adoption, grandparent rights, TPOs, CPS cases, child support cases. And everything in between. There's a little bit of criminal law in there. There's some civil law. There's a little bit of personal injury law, but the bread and butter is family law. I have done over 100,000 consultations over the course of my career.
Jeez.
That's a lot of consultations, and I'm going to tell you. You know, I remember one time I was sitting, and with that many consultations, I do a lot of cases. And sometimes that means I'm at the office very late at night and working, trying to get stuff in for the next day.
I've never known you've been known to do that. I've never heard anything about you need to be woken up at 3 a.m. or shuttled out of there.
Usually, it's my bladder or my neck that wakes me up at 3 a.m. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on? So
I have a chiropractor on call at all moments, just in case.
I'm pretty limber these days, though, from sleeping in the chair. I've got a real comfortable one, so it's nice. But so I'll be sitting there drafting a brief or drafting a motion, something I need for either a deadline or a case the next day. But every once in a while, the phone will ring, and I sit there. I'm like, do I answer this call because I'm really on
for those midnight legal emergencies?
Yeah, I'm not here to do a consult. I'm here to finish this case. And by the third ring, I'm like, I'm here anyway. I may as well take the consult. And so I take this consult, and this guy is like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you answered. I'm like, well, I'm glad you called. What do you need? He's like, I've got court in the morning at 9 a.m. Great. What do you need? He's like, well, it's a child custody case, and I'm fighting for my kid. My ex is trying to take my kid away, and she filed this motion, and I haven't filed anything in return, and my hearing's tomorrow. Can you help me?
He's laying there in bed that night at 11:30. I'm going to lose the kids.
And so I'm like,
starts calling lawyers. And
yeah, let me see who picks up. And so I pick up and I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll help you. I mean, we probably should go in with an opposition. You mind if I just draft that up real quick? So I draft up an opposition. It was pretty good, if I do say so myself. And get it on file by like 7 a.m., okay? And I run home, I shower, I come back, all fresh, right? And we go in and we have Judge Harder, rest his soul, who is the judge of the day. We were personally very friendly, but he is a tough judge.
I heard he's harder on some than others. So.
Okay, yeah, that's true too. But he knows the law, and he doesn't like to be trifled with. And so I go in, we file their notice of appearance. I go in, I file they have the opposition on file, and I walk in. He's like, Mr. Smith, welcome. I'm like, thanks, Judge, good to see you. He's like, what are you doing here? Well, I'm the attorney on the case. Where's your notice of appearance? No, I filed that at 7:05, Your Honor. And he look, oh, there it is. Well, it's an unopposed case. I don't know what you're going to. No, the opposition's there. So it is. Why don't I take a minute and read this for you? I'm like, that sounds fantastic, Judge, if you would do that. And so we go. He reads it. He's like, well, that's great. I don't know that we're going to resolve this today, but certainly you've got some good arguments why Dad shouldn't lose the kids. And so we'll set this up for another hearing. Are you going to be at the other hearing? I go, well, I'll have to talk to my client. He's only paid me to be here today, but I'll talk to him after court, and we'll see. And so he's like, well, talk to him after court. You better hurry. And I'm like, better hurry. I've got all day. It's 9 a.m. Like, we're out of here. It's 9:20.
Yeah.
I got all day. No, just make it quick. So, okay. So we get done with the hearing, and I'm walking out. He's so happy he hasn't lost the kids. And we walk out, and there's 3 Metro officers standing there. And they slap the silver bracelets on him. He's got
No
warrants.
wonder this guy was in a rush.
Yeah. And the judge knew, right? The judge knew. He's like,
Used just one phone call on you the night before.
get it in quick because he's not going to be around very long. And he was arrested on the spot and never heard from him again.
Oh man,
So
no idea why they even arrested him or anything.
No, I didn't know.
Didn't ask.
Well, I wasn't retained for that. I was retained
he
to keep
paid
the
in
kids.
advance though?
He
I hope.
paid in advance. Yes, he did. And so that's the kind of stuff that can happen. And lucky me, you only really get those cases if you're there at 1 a.m. So
the midnight bird gets the worm, I guess.
exactly.
Is that the moral of that story?
Well, 1:30. That's a very early bird. Yes. So as a result of that incident and incidents like that, I'm not averse to calling people. I mean, I don't get the calls all that often, but like somebody will go to my website and fill out a form and, hey, I need help. And, if the language seems sufficiently urgent, I'll call them. I don't care. Whatever, I'm there. I'm doing my thing. But, might as well retain a new client while we're here. And so, but, I'm a little old school, and so I refer back to the rule. And typically, I'm not calling after 9 p.m. 9 p.m. is like the cutoff, right? Unless it's an emergency. So I'm there at the, I popped into the office. It's actually Sunday. Pop into the office. I got a couple things to do. And I kind of look at my calendar, and the staff, the receptionist, was so sweet to me. She decided to schedule somebody for me to talk to on Saturday and not tell me about it.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So
bless her heart.
As if I'm there every single day, which I don't know that I necessarily am, but I can be. But certainly it's nice to be told, right? And so it's Sunday at about 5 p.m. And I see this guy. I'm like, oh, I feel so bad. I missed him, right?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can give him a call. So I call this guy, and I say, hey, this attorney Kurt Smith. I understand you needed a legal consultation today. Is there anything I can help you with? And this old man, he must have been 950 years old if he was a day. Who's this? It's attorney Kurt Smith. You were supposed to call at noon yesterday. I'm like, well, I'm sorry, I wasn't available. I wasn't. Well, you're a jackass. And he hangs up the phone, right? I'm like, well, great, thanks. That's really nice. So I'm sitting there licking my wounds. I finish what I need to do, go home. Come back the next day, as I will. I do my court cases, 100% victorious.
Of course. What else would we expect?
And I come back after I had a trial that day. Come back, and it's like now 6 p.m. And I've got some people that have called in. I'm like, well, it's 6 p.m. I may as well start calling them back. 6, 6:30, 7, 7:30, 8, 8:30. My last one. I get this consult request, so I call the person, and I don't know for sure, but I think it was the same old man, right? And he's like,
you were supposed to call me at 6.
No, there was no time on this one. But he I get on the phone. I'm like, hey, this is attorney Kurt Smith. He's like, why are you calling so late? I'm like, it's 8:30. I thought maybe you needed some help. I don't need help at this hour. Call it a normal hour, you jackass. And he hangs up on me, right? And I'm like, geez, is this the same guy? I don't know, right?
I don't know. A lot of people might just think you're a jackass. It's possible.
That reminds me of a story about my grandpa, but we'll talk about that another time. So I'm sitting there, that's just not very nice. I'm sitting at the office late last night, 7 p.m. Maybe it was 8. And I'm sitting there at the office, and I get a phone call. And it's a block number, right? But that's not uncommon. I get block numbers all the time.
Of course.
answer the phone, and nothing. There's nobody there, right? And as I often will, you know, I can't hear you. I don't have a phone number here. Call me back if you need to. Hang up. Get a call back. I get 3 calls in a row like that. Nobody's talking. And hello, it's Attorney Kurt Smith. How can I help you? I'm not hearing you. Give me a call back. So the 4th one, I answer, and I don't say anything. And there's nothing going on the other line. And all of a sudden I hear whispering, right? And I'm like, what is going on here? And so
deliberating in the background, getting ready.
And I go, I heard that. Okay, so apparently you're there, and maybe it's not the audio. Maybe it's you. Is there something I can help you with? Yeah, why do you call people so late? Yeah, you jackass. Like, I'm like, why are you bugging me? If you don't want help, I'm here trying to help you. Why are you bugging me with this? And he called 4 or 5 more times that night, and I left him on the longest one was like 15 minutes. This guy's sitting on the phone. He's got some TV show playing up to the speaker, and I'm just sitting there listening. And finally, I'm like, I don't know what to do because he just keeps calling. So I tell him, okay, I've got enough. I've recorded the call. I'll be calling the police. Have a nice day. And I hang up. And that was the last I've heard of him so far.
Oh, he's getting ready for tonight. Trust me, he's got a whole plan laid out. I'm gonna whisper for 30 seconds this time. Then I'm gonna turn the TV up loud, and
well, he better
he's getting it all
Listen,
ready.
if he lives another week and a half, I'd be surprised. I mean, he sounded like he eats gravel for dinner, right? He's just this. And so I don't know, but. I mean, these are the joys of...
Oh, delightful people just cheerfully coming in, I'm sure, every single time.
Every single time. And it's great when you can help them, right? When they've got a problem, and I'm an expert in the field. I'm happy to help. We do what we need to do. But, the initial call that I got, he had a legal question, but apparently... because of my jackassery, as it were, I'm not only not eligible to hear the legal question, I've now turned into somebody that I get to be stalked, apparently, at this point, right? And
he's gonna start calling collect too. He's gonna insult you on your own dime here pretty soon.
You got an 800 number? Sure. Why don't you give us a call? So it's a great gig if you can take it.
Aside from the few, you don't mind if I swear on this show, right? Is it a few bozos that come in there?
How dare you?
I'll bank my real swears for later.
How dare you insult bozo like that? So 100,000 consults is probably what we've done, and it's a lot of fun. And what tends to be a lot of fun is when you start talking to real people that really have help. What I'm glad about with that guy is I didn't call him Saturday at noon, because if at all possible, I would have retained him. And now I've got a jackass for a client, right? Which I don't necessarily want.
I think downside there would have been that would have really hurt your numbers a little bit. You have 100,000 consults. You only had 90,000 before you called the first time. So
well, I don't have to count the crank calls. That's not included. In fact, I
thought he was boosting your numbers. I thought he was trying to give you some more accolades.
This isn't like Angel Reese rebounds where I get to bank it off the rim.
If it leaves the hand, we'll just cut away before we see whether or not it went in.
Flash the face, flashback, swish. So so it's not
that
like
was a man. On that second cut.
It looked like Shaq, but I'm not sure. So, sometimes we have to retain people, and we get to retain people. And I got to be honest. I mean, I'm an attorney, very well respected, right? I mean,
of course,
very prominent here in town. I mean,
who would dare disrespect you?
Who indeed? And so I am.
If you need to, the number I think is on the screen. Just to
so I get a girl this one day, and she comes in. Oh, and what I was trying to say is, I'm probably the most naive attorney in town as well, right? So people come in, they tell me things, I'm like, boy, that sounds accurate. Yes, whatever you just said, that sounds like the truth.
I'm sure you're the good guy here.
You are the good guy in the scenario. And so this girl comes in, she's like, you gotta help me. My boyfriend's trying to take my kid away, and it's not right. It's not nice. And as I'm sitting there talking, I'm like, boy, she's just really fidgety. You know, I mean, she's just, you know, she's wiggling all over the place. Her hands are shaking. And I'm like talking to her about her kid and how much she loves her kid. I'm looking at her and she's just, you know, and she's this cute girl, right? But
turns away to blow her nose really quick. And
well, she probably had a cold. You know?
Oh, yes, yes, of course.
I don't know. And so finally I'm looking at her like, we've got court in like 2 weeks. So I'm going to prep you now. But I'm going to ask you, I mean, what's going on with the hands, okay? Because you look like you're you know, playing a 5-card Monte or something, practicing for a player piano. I don't know. And she's like, oh, I don't know. I go, well, I don't know either. It's not epilepsy because you'd be, you know, incoherent probably on the floor.
Pre-epileptic.
Pre-epileptic, maybe. And so I said, look, when we go to court, whatever you got going on, just sit on your hands, okay? When we go, you sit your hands, slide them right under your legs, and don't put them on the table. Because if you do, the judge is going to look at you and go, what's going on with you, right? Like, and I'm
afraid they probably won't sit still. The whole body just starts moving with the hands underneath them at that point.
The last thing that crossed my mind was drugs. I think she's got some medical condition, right? And so we're sitting there, and I'm like, all right. So we go into court, and opposing counsel on the other side, he gets up. You know, Your Honor, we've got to take this kid away from mom. She's a druggie. And I'm like,
no, she has palsy. What are you talking about?
I look over. I'm like, hey, you taking drugs? No. Oh, good. Okay.
Of course not.
And I'm like, okay. And so he's going on and on about what a drug addict she is. And I must have whispered 3 or 4 times. I'm like, you sure you're not on drugs? Oh, no, not at all.
Me?
Because they're going to ask for a drug test. Okay, now I can argue against it. But if you're not on drugs, there's no reason to, right? So are you on drugs? No, not at all. Okay, and sure enough, they go, Your Honor, we want a drug test, and not just urine, we want hair and urine. And if they'll take blood, we want that too, because she's a druggie. And I stand up, I go, Judge, I've talked to my client, she's not on drugs. If they want to pay for a drug test...
She pinky promise swore me she's not on drugs.
If they want to pay for a drug test, by gum, we'll go take one right now. And the judge is like, okay, well, counsel, he said he'd go take one. Let's give her a referral. I could thank you very much, Judge. Sit down. I've done my job. And so we're sitting there talking, and she, reaches over. Hey, I'm not going to pass. What do you mean you're not going to pass?
Is cocaine a drug? Yes, that is. Meth, is that a drug? Yeah, but you didn't ask about those.
Right. I thought you meant pot. So I'm like, what do you mean? You're not going to pass? I asked you 5 times. And that's what people don't understand. You know, we have attorney-client privilege. Everything you tell me, I'm not going to divulge unless you tell me it's okay. When I ask you if you're on drugs, it's not like I'm your dad.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
It's not like I'm hey, are you sleeping with that boy? No, I'm not. I'm not going to come. Well, I might come down on you a little bit, but.
I'm very disappointed in you. I expected so much better out of you when you showed up in my office 4 minutes ago.
Yeah. So I'm like, look, when you're hiring an attorney, you got to be honest, okay? We can help. There's things that we can do. And sometimes it's not the drug that's the issue for the judge. There's a couple judges in town that are like, cocaine? Who doesn't do that?
Yeah.
Not that.
Just a good weekend.
One. EDC was in town.
So why do you think people feel the need to lie when they're talking to a lawyer?
I don't know.
Is it they're trying to cover up for something, hoping you don't find it? They think they're going to get away with it, or are they just ashamed? They don't want you to think less of them.
I think it's probably they lie to everybody. So why not just lie to me?
Because every drug addict is perfectly truthful. That's always what I was
Well, I don't know about that, but I mean, look, there's lots of things you lie about. It's not just drugs. But,
Yeah.
You know, did you have sexual relations with that woman? I did not have sexual relations with that woman, right? People lie all the time about certain things, and usually they don't want to get caught about something. But when your attorney asks you, you know, the guy you're paying thousands of dollars to help you, you've got to be honest. Because there's things I can do to get you out of it. Or
Absolutely.
I can fight this on certain bases that you don't even have to take the drug test because he doesn't have the evidence to make you. But when you sit here and tell me it's okay, I'm like, let's knock this out of the park. We won't have to worry about it again. We'll take a drug test. I don't want to do that. But I just told you that's what we were going to do. So it's a fun business from that perspective.
Because basically they're just shooting themselves in the foot when they're lying to you.
Well, first they shot themselves in the arm or in the leg, but then in court they're shooting
grazed their shoulder a couple of times.
More of a track mark up the but
didn't hit any major arteries.
No, not at all. So you know, when people ask me what's the number one thing that you need to know, it's you know, be honest with your attorney. You've got to be honest. One of the other things we deal with a lot, which, you know, I understand it, times being what they are, but people will call all the time and they go, hey, how much for a divorce?
As if you're just ordering up a pizza.
Yeah, like a pizza. Well, the
Can you get a divorce here in the next 30 minutes?
Cheese is $8.99. Pepperoni's giving me another $2. So it's not that, right? Like, I don't even know, are you married? Do you have children? Is the other side on board? And so, but we get a lot of people calling for consults and things like that. And that's the first question. Hey, how much for a divorce? Well, let me ask you this. When did you get married? I'm not answering a lot of questions for you, okay? I just need to know how much. I'm like, well, I don't know. How long is this going to take? Why are you asking me? You're the attorney. Well, because it can take like 10 minutes or it can take 2 years, right? I mean, depending on how everybody's fighting, and did somebody abscond with the children? Are you know, is there drugs involved? Or is there a criminal sentence hanging over your head? What's going on? I can't necessarily answer that just like that. But there's a rule that I've developed. You know, there's different rules in life, right? There's Murphy's Law, right? Whatever can go wrong will go wrong, right? There's the Peter Principle. What's that?
Never heard of that one.
Peter Principle is people will rise to their level of incompetence.
Okay.
Right? There's also the legal consultation rule.
Curdy's Law.
Curdy's Law. Curdy's Law. Which is the more annoying people are on the phone when they call and ask for a consultation, it only gets worse once you've retained them, okay? They're probably not the ones that you want because they're going to make your life more miserable than if you just said, no thanks, I don't need this one. You know, so it's a lot of fun.
So when people show up and they're being, and you talk about them needing to be honest, are they ever too honest? Or they ever tell you too much where you're like, I didn't really need to know those details? Or that's trying to use you as free therapy? And
Let's start here. Look, attorneys are called counselors every now and again, right? Counselor, and I mean, we do a lot of counseling, but that's not really my job, right? My job is not to convince you to get a divorce. My job is to help you get divorced if that's what you want to do. Guess who gets to make the decision, though? You do, right? I don't get to make that decision, and I'm not here to even try, right? If you want a divorce, you tell me what you want. I'll tell you what I can do for you.
That's kind of what we do with everything, right? You go to take your car to go get washed. You're like, talk me out of this, please. Am I making the wrong choice?
Listen, I've got a filthy car.
Do I need the rims polished too? Really?
Can I just do this myself? Well, yeah, but you're at the car wash. Yeah, you could do it yourself, but you're already here. Did you plan on getting a car wash today? Or were you going to go home and hose it down yourself? Because it seems like you wanted a car wash. That's why.
Thinking about getting my car dirty later, I just want to see how much it'll run me. might have a crazy weekend coming up here, and
right.
Divorce might be on the horizon. So I just want to see if I can afford it.
So, and people don't often get the clue, right? Now, I told you I work a lot. You know, I have some late night hours, deadlines galore popping up. And so when you want to come into my office and you want to start talking, and you want to start talking about, you know, your vacation from a year and a half ago, and
so
so
what's the reason for the divorce? Oh, first we got to go back to my childhood.
It all started when I was little.
My siblings always kind of left me out of games,
and so, you know, as your attorney's staring at you from across the table, and his eyes are drooping and getting heavy, you're probably on the wrong track, okay? You might want to start listening, right? Because there's certain questions I need to know. Like, when did you get married? Where did you get married? What's going on here? So, and people don't seem to understand that. I had literally a lady that would call me and talk to me about her refrigerator and her air conditioner. You know, the AC's out again. I don't know what to do. You know, I need it cold.
Blows hot when I set it to cold and cold when I set it to hot.
Well, she had the AC upstairs and the AC downstairs, and apparently she ran the AC at the lowest possible setting, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 12 months a year. And her upstairs AC finally gave out. So now she's got to sleep downstairs on the couch or a cot or whatever. But it's not enough, right? There's not enough cooling going on.
Of course.
So she's getting hot, and and she'd call me, and I'd pick up the phone, and it's her. I'm like, oh no, not this, no.
And with all the details you're giving, it sounds like you really heard her out a few times. You might have gone. You didn't go ever to go check it out or anything. Or?
No, that's definitely not my job. But finally, what cured her of that is we're in, you know, day 30 of her calling me, 2-3 hours at a time, and finally I'm like, you do know you're paying me by the hour. Wait, what? Oh yeah, you're gonna get a bill. It's gonna be pretty hefty, a lot more expensive than fixing that darn AC. Okay, because you're nuts. Why are you calling AC repairman? It's so easy. They'll come right out. They'll fix it. Yeah, but then I have to go outside. Yeah. But you know what happens? Then things get fixed. You can sleep in your
It's hot
bed.
outside. It sounds like it's hot inside too.
So
for a client who's never been on your side of the desk, what are the things they should know or pay attention to as they're talking to a lawyer for the first time?
Well, certainly we want to hear about what's going on, but you know, kind of like the old Dragnet show, right? Just give me the facts. I'll ask you questions when I'm interested in what the greater details are. But you know, when I say, when did you get married? And you say, well, I got married on July 1st, 1968. And, it was a beautiful ceremony. Oh, the birds were singing.
You should have been there. I'm sorry I didn't give you an invite.
Yeah, and you're like, well, really? You're getting a divorce. Why do I want to hear about the reception? And so you try and lead them along, and they're, well, you know, and they want to go back to those salad days of yore where things were better, and they didn't have to be in my office, but they are.
So basically, got to cut the fluff a little bit, not have so many details. Stick to the point.
Stick to the point. We'll get to the details. If there's there's abuse going on, you just say those words. Then we'll get into the details, right? Maybe lead with what you want, right? When I pick up, glad you answered. So the other day, as I was driving down towards the beach, I go, the beach, what's going on? And 20 minutes later, I still don't know what your case is about. We've got a real problem. So
when you start missing the people who call and ask how much a divorce is, you start wishing you'd get a call from them at that point.
I just wish I would have asserted myself earlier, I guess, is really the issue. So, look, it looks like we are winding down, but, as we've intimated, I have done lots of consultations. If you do need a consultation, the consultations are free. So give us a call, 702-410-5001, or you can reach us on the web at www.thelegalsmith.com, and we can help you get you a consultation for what you need. I win about 95% of my cases. probably can win for you too. So give us a call and we will get you taken care of. Have a great day.
See you next time.